The film I just watched recently is called Mon Oncle. It's by Jacques Tati, and it is a great little treat from this man. He directed it and he acted in it. It's from 1958. It is in color. It is in the 1.33:1 aspect ratio, and what else? And it's French. The title, Mon Oncle, means my uncle. So, it's about Monsieur Hulot, who appears in several other Tati films. I think just Monsieur Hulot's Holiday from before, and then Playtime and Traffic after Mon Oncle. And he's an excellent performer. Tati, I mean. And his character, Monsieur Hulot, is this cutely, endearingly old-fashioned man in a drab raincoat, carries around an umbrella, and his pants are always a little bit too short and always reveal that he's wearing cute little striped socks. The film is about Monsieur Hulot looking after his nephew. His nephew lives with his family in this garish modern house. It's remarkably ugly, and that house is contrasted with Monsieur Hulot's, and he lives in this quaint and old-fashioned Parisian apartment. The new world replacing the old is a theme, a concept that Tati returns to in several other films involving Monsieur Hulot. There is this one shot in the film that occurs pretty much every time Hulot goes from old world to new or new to old, in which you see the crumbling brick wall revealing a line of homogeneous gray buildings. A beautiful crystallization of everything that this film is about, and also Monsieur Hulot's outings in general. Anyways, the scene I want to talk about, and the first time that it occurred to me, this technique that Tati uses, the first time it occurred to me was when I was watching this scene. Yeah, that's it. It's not much. He just goes up some stairs, he goes through some hallways, and he ends up in his apartment. Probably the funniest thing about the whole thing is that he goes up a flight of stairs towards the end, and he comes out on the exact opposite end of where you expect him to be. But really, even that is not that funny. The whole thing is just rather clever in a mechanical sense. That is setting up later on when Monsieur Hulot is leaving his apartment. At the same time as he's going down this whole elaborate set, a woman in a negligee is going up. All we see are their legs, and then Monsieur Hulot, who's wearing slippers, waddles into the corner and averts his eyes and allows the woman to pass. He uses this technique a lot, where he sets up a joke and then he comes back to it and strips the joke back even more. For example, every time that Monsieur Hulot's sister is having a guest over, so eager to impress them with her wealth and taste, she turns a switch and And so then there's this other scene in which a farmer comes by to sell some produce, and you know, he knocks at the gate, and she hears that someone's coming, and she's expecting guests, so, well, yeah. Okay, now think about if the camera was placed higher and looked over the fence, and we could see more than just his reaction. We would see the rich housewife giddily activating the fountain. We would see the fountain itself, which is spewing this fluid, and we would get to see the farmer's reaction to the whole ordeal. Tati proves that less is more, that we don't need that. In fact, it's much better without it. And another part of the storyline is that Hulot, the oncle, is supposed to be looking after his nephew, which he time and time again fails to do. And his nephew often sneaks around with his working class compatriots, which, if you look back earlier at the apathy in how the housewife sees the lower class farmer, and how her son revels in camaraderie with his working class friends, Tati is making a quiet observation. Anyways, in this scene, they're sitting and, well, it's actually funnier if I don't say anything. Yeah, so they do this a few times, actually. Sometimes it fails, and most of the time it works. So when this scene comes along, well, we have a good idea of what's about to happen. Tati made great use of this technique time and time again. I think it's best achieved in Mon Oncle, but he also does it in earlier films. Such as Monsieur Hulot's Holiday. I'm reminded of the scene in which Hulot attempts to mount a horse. We don't see him mounting a horse, but we know that he's not. And then almost a decade after Mon Oncle came out, Tati returned to cinema with his masterpiece, Playtime, in which some of his cleverest jokes are again concealed, but this time in plain sight. This is the nightclub scene, considered by many to be the climax of the film, and 3 things up to this point have been established. 1. This kid is a bumbling ignoramus who is completely unaware of his surroundings. 2. French people in the late 60s didn't know how to dance. And 3. In an effort to retrieve a decorative orange, Monsieur Hulot inadvertently tore down the ceiling. By now, I hope I've drilled this into your head that Tati is the master of setting up jokes and then hiding the punchlines. So, you might be unaware of the fact that just a few seconds ago, you missed one of his cleverest jokes! Before, you were paying a little bit too much attention to the broken ceiling and the demolition and all that. It's rather distracting. So I'd point you in the direction of the bumbling ignoramus and the bad dancer. Again, it's quiet, it's soft spoken, and yet it is so clever and so funny. Playtime was so well choreographed. It's such a cool movie. So much is happening in so many corners of the screen. Absolutely everywhere there is some gag that you are missing. There was a critic, Noel Birch, I think, said that Playtime is the first film in history that demands multiple viewings from different seats in the theater. The jokes that Tati tells are very modest, they're very quiet, sometimes they're just easy to miss. Sometimes I laugh not because I find them funny, but just because I'm delighted that I even noticed them. Most films are designed to either provoke laughter or crying, but with Tati, he simply wants you to smile. So this is absolutely one of my favorite films because I can turn it on whenever I need something to smile about, and I would highly recommend it. I don't know how to end these videos, so I'm just gonna walk away.